So, Owen versus Corbyn. The UFC cage match battle began last night in earnest in Cardiff. Discuss.
Think about Owen. I mean, I've worked with him, and he's very ambitious and all the rest of it. He had accusations of bullying leveled at him and stuff because he's very hyper, and I've seen him bawl out people who's terrible in relation to that. But also the stuff he's coming out with, I think, is totally vacuous. It's vapid stuff, really. I mean, Corbyn, you may not like him, and I don't think he's electable, frankly. But the Owen stuff is totally aired stuff. Really, there's nothing in it.
Why is he the only one running? I mean, why not a Diane Abbott or somebody that is at least a somewhat known name?
Dario, go for it.
It's funny actually, because I thought I kind of half expected to get into an argument with Phil today, because I thought I know your views on Corbyn, and I think that there are issues with the media and some of the stuff that goes up that I've read, like on your website as well, I find kind of problematic because it adds to this persecution really of Corbyn. Having said that, again, I'm in a position where I think that the Labour is in disarray to the point of we're in this existential moment right now. I mean, because I agree with you, I don't think Corbyn is electable to the general public, and he can get thousands of people at his rallies. I mean, Theresa May doesn't have rallies. She doesn't have thousands of people, but the Tories are in power. So, the fact that loads of people come out to support somebody isn't necessarily going to make a general election victory.
AKA Donald Trump.
Exactly. But I do agree totally with this Owen Smith stuff. I mean, here is a guy who's just running on naked ambition. He's got less chance of being elected than Jeremy Corbyn or Andy Burnham or Yvette Cooper, any of the last lot who fought against Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, Labour are just completely unelectable. And at the moment, they're just shouting at each other from these two positions. There is no conversation going on. There's no ideas. I mean, for somebody like me, who is in tune with maybe 2/3 of what Jeremy Corbyn kind of stands for policy-wise, but thinks doesn't make a good leader strategy-wise. And then on the other hand, I'm not a Blairite, but I'm a centre-leftist, if you're going to position me there. So, but I don't agree with either side. So where the hell do people sit in that kind of position? And I think that there's real issues, whatever the result. If Corbyn gets re-elected, what does the PLP do? Do they go off and form their own party? If Owen Smith gets elected, which I don't think will happen, I think Corbyn will win. But if he does, what happens to all these people who are infused by Jeremy Corbyn's ideals and his principles? Because they are the people who would work for the Labour Party in any upcoming general election, and they will just disappear. So Labour is in a real state at the moment.
What do you make of it, Dan,
well,
being a resident American?
It's so funny watching it because it reminds me so much of what we're currently seeing with the U.S. presidential election. I mean, you've got division inside of the Republican Party, where the more moderates are actually going to vote for Hillary Clinton. You've got division within the Democratic Party, where the far lefties, the Bernie bros, are still very upset with what's happened. They're going to likely vote for either Trump or go green to Jill Stein, who is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, that woman is completely off the wall. So, I mean,
it's just idiocy, though, isn't it? I mean, if you do want progressive change, and you're not happy with Hillary, fine. On the day of the vote, you vote her in because Trump is a maniac, and then the rest of the year you criticize Hillary for what she's, you make her be more progressive.
Hold her feet to the fire. I mean, the problem is that we've said this before: Republicans fall in line, Democrats fall in love, and they've all fallen in love with Bernie. Now the key is how many of them are willing to do the fight for the next 3 years to make certain that the changes are made to the DNC and that things actually do change. And they, run for local office and they start to actually make some changes. They're not willing to do that. And then they'll pout because they didn't get what they want. They won't show up for the midterms in 2018. And we'll be right back where we are right now with a dysfunctional Republican Congress that doesn't do anything.
Last night I saw on BBC 4 a programme about the 80s presented by Dominic Sandbrook, right? Now, I'm actually not a great fan of Dominic Sandrick, but he's a good writer and he's a good presenter. He writes in the Sunday Times as well. And they must have a great film research on that, because you're digging out all this stuff from the 1981, anyway, the early 80s. And what happened in the early 80s was that Labour basically imploded, and he's digging out all this stuff, with Michael Foot became leader, and he had these fantastic rallies, terrific rallies, which were all male, incidentally, unnoticed. Great support. Tony Benn only just didn't get the deputy leadership.
Yeah.
So Dennis Healey got it, in fact. But the parallels, I didn't draw this actually, but the parallels with now are unbelievably stark.